Good afternoon. This is the Board of County Commissioners meeting. It is Tuesday, December 12th, 2023. It is 2:04 p.m. I'm Carolina Mejia. I'm the chair of the board. To my right is Vice Chair Ty Menser, as well as Commissioner Wayne Fournier. To my left, we have Commissioner Gary Edwards, as well as Commissioner Emily Klaus. We'll start our meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Edwards.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Vice Chair Menser, would you like to do a land acknowledgement?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We would also like to start today with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Indigenous Salish peoples whose elders and ancestors have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial, and who still inhabit the area today, specifically the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and to remember history as a stepping stone towards healing.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the Tuesday, December 12th, 2023 agenda. There are some changes to the agenda from this morning. And Interim County Manager, would you like to go through them?
Yes, ma'am. So the changes to your agenda for today are the human resources item that sets the salaries for the assessor, the auditor, the clerk, the coroner, the prosecuting attorney, the sheriff, and the treasurer were moved off the consent agenda and are now, or is now, department item 9A. The next change is that this agenda has appointments to the Pest and Vegetation Management Advisory Committee and the Planning Commission on the consent agendas items 3M and 3N. And finally, the motion for the precinct boundary maintenance hearing was updated to match information from the election teams that they provided in the hearing script. So those are the changes to your agenda.
Thank you. And so with the 2023 Planning Commission appointments, the appointments are as follow. For District 1, the in-district appointment will be Derek Day with a term start of January 1st, 2021, and a term expiration of December 31st, 2026. The second seat for District 1 is vacant. For District 2, it will be Barry Halverson for in-district for a term start of January 1st to an expiration of December 31st, 2027. For the at-large seat for District 2, it's Eric Casino with a term start of January 1st, 2024 through a term expiration of December 31st, 2024. For District 3, we have Sandy Kaiser for in-district appointment for January 1st, 2024 through an expiration of December 31st, 2026. And for District 3 at-large, we have Joel Hansen for a term start of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2025. For District 4, we have Scott Nelson for in-district appointment for January 1st, a term start of January 1st, 2021, to a term expiration of December 31st, 2027. And then the at-large is vacant. And for District 5, we have Kevin Pessinger for in-district appointment for a term start of January 1st, 2024 through a term expiration of December 31st, 2026. And for the at-large appointment for District 5, Robert Vanderpool for a term start of January 1st, 2024 through a term expiration of December 31st, 2025. Any questions in regards to any of the changes from this morning? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve the amended agenda for Tuesday, December 12th, 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay, the agenda has now been approved. Today, we have a very special presentation from the Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and it's Marshall's Day Proclamation, and Wendy Ireland from the Prosecutor's Office is here. And go ahead, Wendy. Christy Peters, I just apologize. Go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner Mejia. I'm going to be here for literally 10 seconds because I really want to turn it over to the people that make it happen within the Prosecuting Attorney's Office. But on behalf of the Prosecutor's Office, I'm Christy Peters, Chief of Staff. It is my pleasure to introduce Wendy Ireland and our staff that we lovingly call Team Marshall. And I'll turn it over to them to explain how wonderful Marshall has been as an addition not only to our office, but to the entire Thurston County community.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you so much for taking the time to recognize the important and meaningful work done by Marshall, the courthouse facility dog, as well as other justice facility dogs, service dogs, and working dogs such as police canines throughout Thurston County. We are very honored to be here and excited to introduce Marshall and the work at the Thurston County Prosecutor's Office. I would like to introduce you to Kim Carroll. Kim is a senior victim advocate in the domestic violence team. She's Marshall's primary handler. Marshall spends most of his working hours with Kim as she meets with and supports victims. Sherry Landon is a victim advocate with our special victims team and is Marshall's secondary handler. Just last month, Sherry completed her training with Assistance Dogs Northwest and passed her test to become a secondary handler. I'm Wendy Ireland. I'm the legal support manager for the prosecutor's office. I am Marshall's caretaker and his secondary handler. And of course, this is Marshall. As Christy said, we call ourselves Team Marshall. Also here is my husband, Mike Ireland. He works for Thurston County for Public Works. Marshall lives with Mike and me, and we both provide for his daily needs. Marshall is a courthouse facility dog, which is also called a justice facility dog. Justice facility dogs are professionally trained dogs working throughout the country in prosecutor's office, child advocacy centers, and family courts. These special dogs are graduates of dog training organizations that are accredited by Assistance Dogs International. There are approximately 304 justice facility dogs working throughout 41 different states. We are fortunate enough to have 4 of those dogs here in Thurston County. Astro, Days, and Coco all work at Monarch Children's Justice Advocacy Center in Lacey. Marshall will be 10 years old on December 27th. He was born to a guide dog organization in Australia, and at 10 weeks of age, he was transferred to Assistance Dogs of Hawaii in Maui, where he immediately began his 2 years of training. In December of 2015, Assistance Dogs of Hawaii granted our application and placed Marshall with the Thurston County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. Assistance Dogs of Hawaii retains ownership of Marshall, and they provide our office with ongoing support, training, and guidance. Marshall and his 3 handlers must undergo a yearly follow-up training and meeting with a trainer from Assistance Dogs of Hawaii to ensure that we are following best practices, and they provide us with ongoing training and support as needed. We are forever indebted to Assistance Dogs of Hawaii for the gift they've given to Thurston County. Marshall has worked with hundreds of children and vulnerable adults over the years. He has several interactions a week with victims and survivors as they weave their way through the court system. Marshall provides comfort at court hearings, defense interviews, and trials. He can play games with children to break the ice or keep them occupied as they wait at the courthouse. He can snuggle and turn himself into a weighted blanket to provide comfort and security. One of Marshall's miracle moments came when he was supporting a little girl who was 6 or 7 at the time. She was being questioned by one of the attorneys, and when asked to describe her abuse, she couldn't speak. She froze. One of the attorneys asked her if she could tell Marshall what happened. At that moment, she got off the couch she was sitting on with Marshall, and she knelt in front of him. She took both her hands and placed them on each side of his head. She looked right at Marshall and she began to tell her story. It was his non-judgmental, reassuring support that got her through the interview. The young girl was calm enough to describe her abuse and make sure that justice was served. Marshall has a special ability to enter a room and sense where he is needed most. He knows exactly where and when to make his move, and it's heartwarming to watch. Marshall's superpower is making children feel safe. For the first time ever, we have kids looking forward to coming back to the courthouse because they know they get to see Marshall. His presence doesn't just help children, he provides support for entire families who are going through one of the most difficult times of their lives. Marshall also helps county employees when they have a difficult day. And finally, I want to acknowledge all the many service dogs working here in Thurston County to provide assistance and independence to our residents. I would also like to acknowledge other working dogs, specifically the 6 canines working for our local law enforcement agencies, 3 right here at the Thurston County Sheriff's Office, and they provide safety and security to Thurston County. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, commissioners, anything you'd like to add at this time?
I'd like to make a good boy.
I want to apologize to Marshall for taking him out of Hawaii. Thanking him for his service to Thurston County.
I just want to say, I remember when Marshall first came to Thurston County and how exciting it was for really everyone to have him. And I want to thank Wendy for really taking on, and Mike as well for taking on this, additional family member and really, sharing him with us. And, thank you, Wendy, for sharing that story, right? And as we've seen child abuse rates go up in our community, services that Marshall provides are becoming even more essential now more than ever. And so just thank you to Marshall for all of his amazing work that he does with all of our victims. With that, I am ready for a proclamation.
Thurston County Proclamation, Marshall's Day, December 27th, 2023. Whereas Marshall, the courthouse facility dog, was born in Australia on December 27th, 2013, and was professionally trained and provided to the Thurston County Prosecuting Attorney's Office by Assistance Dogs of Hawaii in 2015. And whereas Marshall provides comfort to crime victims, witnesses, and others involved in the justice system by being present for court hearings, attorney interviews, and trials, and provides support to children and families at the Family and Juvenile Court by attending dependency hearings and celebrating Adoption Day. And whereas Marshall also supports and comforts justice professionals and other county employees working in high-stress environments. Great. And vulnerable to vicarious trauma and compassion fatigue. And whereas Marshall attended legislative hearings to provide legislators with a better understanding of how courthouse dogs assist those involved in the justice system, resulting in the creation of a new law allowing accredited facility dogs to attend trials in support of victims. And whereas Marshall provided comfort and support in 2017 to victims and survivors of a mass casualty event in Las Vegas, Nevada, and in 2018 to those impacted by an active shooter event in Thurston County. And whereas service dogs, facility dogs, and other working dogs such as police canines provide independence, support, safety, and assistance every day to many residents in Thurston County. And whereas we wish to celebrate Marshall's 10th birthday and recognize him for his 8 years of dedicated service to our community. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Thurston County Commissioners hereby proclaims December 27th, 2023 as Marshall's Day in Thurston County and encourages all residents of Thurston County to acknowledge the important work of all facility dogs, service dogs, and other working dogs. Adopted this 12th day of December 2023 by the Board of County Commissioners.
Yay, Marshall! So on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners Office, our wonderful staff have made a little present box for Marshall because it is very well deserved. It's his birthday, so he cannot leave without a birthday present. So,
Thank you very much.
and would you be open to a picture?
Oh, yes. And Marshall has Christmas cards he brought.
Oh, yes.
I'll present to all of you.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Count of three. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you. 1. Oh, let me. 1, 2, 3. One more.
Thank you so much. To cuddle with Marshall.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
He doesn't look 10. He looks young.
Uh-oh.
Oh, they had names on the back?
You almost got it right. Here.
I just saw this part.
I want to see Marshall's personalized message to me.
We got a picture with Santa.
Yes.
Nothing, no message.
My kids will like to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, that will conclude our very special presentation for today. Next is an opportunity for the public to address the board. The Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. The general speaking guidelines are as follows. Please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones for those members in the boardroom. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes to address the board. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outburst of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 of the RCW. No remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal. Thank you for your cooperation. I will go through the sign-up sheet, and if you didn't get an opportunity to sign up, then I will give you an opportunity and we will move on to Zoom. The first person that I have, you have Mark No. I will see if you've changed your mind and give you that opportunity. Larry Taylor? No? Okay. And then the next person has also marked no, but just again, an opportunity. David Andrade? No? Okay, and then next person you have marked yes. Jeff Merriman? You have 4 minutes.
I think I only need about a minute. My name's Jeff Merriman, and thank you guys for all you do, county commissioners. I'm here because I recently put in a letter of interest for Board of Equalization for the fill-in spot. I was just checking in to see how that was coming along, but while I was sitting here, I got to thinking about the Planning Commission. Gary brought it up to me last time we talked, and I'm glad to hear that there's a at-large. So before I leave the building today, I will be putting in a letter of interest for that spot as well. Wayne, Friday, I hope you have the email for the steady meeting over at Sweet Hall. So we look forward to welcoming you over there in that group. Ty's done it for several years. The other commissioners, they've come and done that. So I look forward to seeing you over there, and that's it.
Thank you. Just so we can have, we had a discussion, and so we discussed the process for the Board of Equalization this morning. So the application is going to be sent to the Board of Equalization. It's going to be promoted that there's an alternate seat. I'm looking towards you, Interim County Manager.
We're going to we're going to advertise that there is an open position and see if we get any additional interest. No, you know, we're keeping your name in the running and we're seeing if there's anyone else.
Yeah, I know it's been open for a few years, so.
And then after that, the applications get sent forward to the Board of Equalization, and then
right.
they do a recommendation to the
Back
board.
to the Board of County
Just for,
Commissioners.
you know, just for clarity on the process. That was discussed this morning as we were all also learning about the vacancy and kind of the process that we go through for the Board of Equalization. Okay.
You're the first new applicant in years, so.
Okay, I don't have anyone else on the sign-up sheet, but is there anyone? Okay, Mr. Okay, after him.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live out in East Olympia. And boy, there's too much to talk about in 4 minutes, but my first issue I'm going to talk about has to do with something that's that I consider 2024 is going to be the year of which it is going to be time to hold people accountable. When I say hold people accountable, we have some state audits occurring right now, and if somebody has misspent dollars, then they need to be held accountable for it. I'm sure all of you recognize we work in a process of checks and balances, not just one team. Okay, checks and balances, you have to each hold everyone accountable. If somebody's done something wrong, they need to be held accountable for it, including paying money if they were involved with making expenditures that were not within the budget appropriations. And I took note of that because I noticed you're going to have a whole lot of voucher lists that you're approving. Okay, well now, as soon as you approve those voucher lists, if any of those expenditures were not budgeted appropriations, you become personally liable for them. So you might want to think about that process when you sign on. My next topic is going to be basically, as many of you know, I work in line with many different clientele related to property development and issues with the county and everything. One of the people I do work with is Eric Johnson, and I know that you had received a letter. And I will tell you, I'm not sure any of you, even an attorney up there, understand what the merits of a quitclaim deed is. The idea of issuing a quitclaim deed to the tribe for property that is not within the reservation, that doesn't actually have any chain of title indicating Thurston County is having ownership of it, of a portion of Mr. Johnson's property, has significant legal ramifications, and if he chooses, he may follow up. I understand he sent a letter in regarding an objection and a memorandum of record so that it's on the record exactly what's occurring. I thought it might be kind of fun since quitclaim deeds seem to be nothing to you. Maybe I'll issue a quitclaim deed to each of your own personal properties to some party out there, because there's no limitation. It doesn't guarantee any ownership, but it sure clouds the title up. So maybe you want to think about whether you want to move forward or you want to suspend that action accordingly. And the two other things I'm going to talk about very briefly. Good, you're moving forward. I'm not going to be here for a hearing related to the change of the meeting ordinance. It'd be nice if you rearranged your meetings. Since every meeting is a regular meeting, that means just like this is a real agenda, right? How come every meeting doesn't have a real agenda just like this? And how come those aren't all posted with minutes of every meeting that you carry on each day of the week, all the time? We need all those posted online. That needs to happen immediately. And the final thing is some of the clients I have related to planning, right now I have several $1 million worth of projects that could proceed forward, but they would rather work on backlog or other issues. You got to get a hold of your planning department and start making it work so that you're getting processes, you're losing a lot of tax revenue that could be coming into you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, folks. My name's Rob Lehman. I live at 11530 School Run Road, Rochester. I'm here to talk about you giving my legal access away to the tribe. Okay, the tribe says it's going to leave it open to the public. I'm not a tribal public. Russia, the people that are public in Russia are Russians. In Canada, the people who are the public in Canada are Canadians. On the tribe out there, the people who are the public are tribal people. I'm not a tribal people. The roads aren't open to me. I have a legal access right now over county roads. My property was purchased from the tribe, became county property, and has a county road to it. And you're gonna take that county road away from me, take my legal access, and you're gonna make it into some permission-only access. I'm not tribal public. When they say they're gonna leave the roads open to the public, they're not talking about me. I'm from a different government. I don't have access over their property. They can allow me to cross it, but I don't have legal access over their property. It's county property. It was acquired from the tribe. It was tribal property at one point. I purchased it from them. It became county property with county access. And it's like, you're gonna give my access and landlock me with a hostile government that's been hostile towards me in the past. And it's like, I can't believe that you can even do that. I've got no representation out there. I can't vote for any of the people that own that access. None. You're taking away my right to grievance. You're taking away my right to due process, and you're taking away my legal access and giving it to an entity that's been hostile to me in the past. It's like, I don't understand how that could even be legal, and I don't know why you do it. It's like, if they want to be over the roads, they can open up a city. They say, oh, well, we'll just file a corporation with a city and be a city. It'd be city streets. They have all the say in their city. They could do with it, but I still have representation in the city. But you know what? They can't do that because they're a sovereign nation, and they don't let our government in on them. They can't be a city. You're giving my access to a sovereign country, leaving me landlocked. And it's like, I heard in here before, oh, we're on stolen tribal land. I live in a house bought from a tribal chairman, and I've lived there most of my years. The property I own out at the reservation was acquired from the tribe. It's not stolen land. None of this is stolen land. Well, we need our land back. I bought this from them. Where I'm living was purchased from them. That land out there was purchased from them. Has a county road to it. It's county property, pays county taxes. And I have the right to elect or unelect you. And I guarantee you, you're supposed to be here looking out for me, protecting my rights and freedoms, and you're not. It's ridiculous. Absolutely. 4 minutes isn't enough for me to get up here and tell you what I know and what I think. And it's like, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to provide public comment?
Eric Johnson, Southwest Thurston County farmer on 183rd and Moon Road. Afternoon, commissioners. Yeah, I think Rob had a lot to say there. I support what he says, and John as well. I've provided a letter to reasons why I don't think it's legal for you to go ahead and transfer my property rights to the Chehalis tribe and actually expand the reservation a little bit. I'm afraid of change on that road. There's no due process for me. They could come in, and I've provided pictures to each of you commissioners on how my access is now. Any change in that access is ditching, narrowing up of my inlet exit is going to be detrimental to me and my farming actions. I hope that you will go ahead and postpone the vote to transfer this with a quit claim deed to the tribe. I think you need to look at this legally a little bit more, possibly individually, and the ramifications for it. County staff has done a great job maintaining the roadways. They've been out, twice last week, once this morning, and the week prior. So I don't see any deficiencies in the county. Actually, I wish they would not mow as much as they do, because I can take the grass off versus brush hogging it as well. Pretty much that's it. I'm against it. I'm not against the Chehalis Indian tribe. I'm against the process and going forward, and how I will maintain a relationship with peoples that think that they own my property and not have a mutual agreement of use of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment in the boardroom? Okay, we'll move on to Zoom.
There is Jesse Simmons.
No comments from me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And everyone else on Zoom is county staff.
Thank you. Okay. Next on our agenda is county manager's update.
I have no update at this time.
Any questions for the county manager? Okay, moving on to consent items A through N. Is there an item that commissioners would like to remove from the consent agenda? Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve consent items 3A through 3N.
Is there a second?
And Nancy. Secretary.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. I will call for the vote.
Commissioner Claus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier? Aye. Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Consent agenda is approved. Moving on to department items on page 5, first from Central Services, 4A extension for janitorial services with Seal X LLC, and we have Jason Ash, Facility Services Manager, to present this item. Go ahead, Jason. Jason, you're on mute.
Sorry. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jason Ash, Facilities Manager. I'm here this afternoon asking for approval for a 2-year extension with CLX Pro. This contract is an extension of the original contract, which came off of the DES master contract. And I'm here if you have any questions.
Questions for Jason? Okay, is there a motion?
Move to approve Amendment 2 with CLX LLC for janitorial services in the amount of $1,021,285.68, and authorize the interim Central Services Director to execute the agreement and any future amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Claus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Next item from the Commissioner's Office, item 5A, is the 2024 Property Tax Levy Certification. We have Nicole Martinez, Budget and Fiscal Manager, here to present this item.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. RCW 84, Nicole Martinez, Budget and Fiscal Manager. RCW 84-5207 requires the legislative authority in each county to certify the amount of the property tax levy to the county assessor no later than December 15th of each year. In accordance with RCW 84-55-120, a public hearing was held on December 5th, 2023, regarding revenue to support the proposed 2024 operating budget, including a proposed property tax increase. RCW 84-5243, allows the county legislative authority to shift a portion of the property tax levy for roads to the general fund. It is recommended that the board authorize a road levy shift of $4.7 million. By enacting a road levy shift, the board maintains a general fund balance at it anticipated in the budget. RCW 3633 and RCW W 3682 allows the county legislative authority to divert property tax revenue from the road fund to the general fund. It is recommended that the board authorize a road diversion of 1.5 million from the road fund to the general fund. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Any questions for Nicole? Okay, is there a motion?
Move to approve the resolution to certify the 2023 property tax levies for the general fund, roads, Medic One, and conservation futures to be collected in 2024, and authorize a road levy shift in the amount of $4.7 million and a road diversion to the current expense fund of $1,500,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Klaus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5B is a change order request, TC Connect.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Robin Campbell, Interim County Manager. Before you this afternoon is a request to approve a change order for Sierra Cedar Incorporated in support of the TC Connect configuration. TC Connect is the county's name for our new ERP system. And ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Program Project. Anyway, what it is basically is a financial system. And Thurston County back in 2019 issued an RFP for a new financial system that would replace our systems for finance, human resources, payroll, and budget, and also had a fleet management system. Sierra Cedar was the winning bidder to be our implementation partner for an Oracle product that we named TC Connect. Right about the time when we were about to sign the contract in early 2020, the COVID pandemic hit, and the board delayed implementation of the ERP project until we could get a better sense of what our finances would be. In 2021, we restarted the project and concluded our contract negotiations with Sierra Cedar. And we signed a contract in the amount of $3,925,000 to implement our new system. Along the way, there were difficulties, and we signed a change order for corrections in implementation in the amount of $365,000. So we currently have a contract with Sierra Cedar of $4,290,000. In June of 2023, when we should have been nearing the completion of the project to implement TC Connect, there were numerous issues with the program of the system. And so we put it on pause, and since June, the county's been negotiating with Sierra Cedar on how to move forward with this project. I'm pleased to report that this morning we concluded negotiations, and the change order to restart the project to complete the system is what we're asking your approval for today. The change order amount is $500,000 for completion of the current scope of work, and $50,000 for travel so that the programmers can be on site more often and work directly with us to complete this project successfully, for a new contract amount of $4,840,000. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions?
Where are they traveling from when they have to travel? You know,
That is great. They're on the East Coast, aren't they?
It depends on where the the
Programmer
lead
lives.
is. They're remote, so one's in Denver for sure, some of them are in different places.
Airplane flights, that's what I'm hearing.
Yes, and hotels.
Questions? Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve the change order request with CR Cedar Inc. for $500,000 to reflect the current scope of work and timeline for TC Connect configuration, testing, training, and implementation, and up to $50,000 for required travel, and to authorize the county manager or designee to execute the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I want to thank Sherry for all of her hard work in negotiating this. I guess for members of the public, TC Connect is basically updating all of our systems from fleet management to budget to just different to HR. Some of our the software that we've used in the past is going out of service and won't be able to keep using it. And so this kind of will help us also be more effective in terms of getting the information out there. I know there's different sections of this whole system that, you know, will really help us in the end. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Klaus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Moving on to Community Planning and Economic Development, item 6A is to set a public hearing for Agriculture Code Update, part of CPA-16.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Maya Teeples, Senior Planner with Community Planning. Today, I'm here to request that you set a public hearing on the Agricultural Code Update for January 16th, 2024 at 3:30 or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard. The Agricultural Code Update is included on the 2022-2023 Official Comprehensive Plan docket and is packaged under docket item CPA-16, which is the Community-Driven Review of Agriculture. This proposal includes changes to several chapters within the Thurston County Code, Title 20, related to agricultural uses, including Chapter 20.03, 20.08A, 20.08G, and 2054. This update specifically clarifies standards and uses within the Agritourism Overlay District, which will serve the permit staff and our community better by providing clearer regulations and in turn facilitate quicker permitting. It also expands agricultural related uses within the long-term agriculture zoning district and updates definitions for agricultural uses. This provides greater flexibility for agricultural operators that are within that zoning district and improves agricultural viability for Thurston County. This proposal has been developed based on significant community feedback and has received broad support to move forward. Outreach has been done with our Agricultural Advisory Committee, the Voluntary Stewardship Program Work Group, the Agritourism Committee, and also Olympia Master Builders and the Realtors Association, as well as some other stakeholder groups. The Planning Commission reviewed this proposal as a package item with other CPA-16 items over 6 work sessions and held a public hearing on June 21st, 2023. Following that hearing, the Planning Commission made a recommendation of approval on August 2nd, 2023. The board reviewed this proposal at several briefings in August, September, and October. And at a briefing on October 18th, the majority of the board recommended moving this proposal forward to public hearing. It's packaged with other CPA-16 items, including maps and criteria that will not be part of this public hearing because they need additional time to prepare for public review. So we're asking to move forward with these code changes for the public hearing to be responsive to the community's support and address ongoing permit issues. The hearing will be noticed by legal notice, press release, and webmail, and I'm happy to answer any additional questions you may have on this item.
Questions? Okay, no questions. Is there a motion?
I move to set a public hearing for Tuesday, January 16, 2024 at 3:30 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at 3000 Pacific Avenue, room 110, to take public comment on the Agriculture code update, a part of CPA 16.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I would, Madam Chair, comment that there was a difference of opinion about moving this to public hearing. And it just really reflected that even though there's been a lot of work done to sort of tee up the issues and a lot of good, I think, agreed upon recommendations, there's a few points, at least a couple, 3 points where there was still some options and the board's had robust discussion. And so the public hearing is a chance for us to hear and get additional input and advance that discussion. So we may not be making any decisions immediately upon that, but I'm pointing this one out because it would, if the public has opinions on this particular topic, I know the board is going to be eager to hear them because we hadn't quite figured it all out ourselves when we had our discussions about a couple of the points.
Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Mr. Klaus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Moving to item 6B is the adoption of 2023 Thurston County Comprehensive Plan amendments. Maya, back to you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Again, Maya Teeples, Senior Planner with Community Planning. This item before you is the 2023 package of amendments to our Thurston County Comprehensive Plan. This item came before you on the November 28th agenda, and at that time I gave an extensive summary of all of the projects and the Planning Commission and the board's review process for the formal records. So today's summary will be slightly abbreviated of what's included in the resolution and the ordinance for the board's consideration today. Under our Washington State Growth Management Act, the county can amend the comprehensive plan, which includes all future land use maps, sub-area plans, joint plans, and other associated maps no more frequently than once per year, as stated in RCW 3670A 130. As part of the 2023 package of amendments to our Thurston County Comprehensive Plan, this resolution and ordinance includes updates to our Olympia Joint Plan, which also include associated code amendments to the community-oriented shopping district to remove a grocery store requirement, updates to the Grand Mound Sub-Area Plan, which includes 4 site-specific citizen-requested rezones, all located within the Grand Mound urban growth area, associated code changes to reduce lot widths in residential zones within Grand Mound, and to incorporate Grand Mound design guidelines into the county code for better clarity and easier access to our permit staff and our community members. The POG site-specific land use and zoning request is the next item. This is a citizen-initiated request, and it would rezone their property and the southern and adjacent property from rural residential resource 1 to 5 to neighborhood convenience commercial in the rural portion of the county near Offutt Lake. The next item is the Yelm Joint Plan. This is a full repeal and replacement of our Thurston County and City of Yelm Joint Plan for the Yelm urban growth area. And then finally is the Lacey Joint Plan. Again, a full repeal and replacement of the Lacey Joint Plan. This item also includes 3 site-specific citizen-requested land use and rezone amendments within the Lacey urban growth area, an expansion to the Lacey urban growth area to include Coyo Park, and a consolidation of 2 low-density zones consistent with what the city is currently implementing, as well as associated code changes to implement that low-density consolidation. So before the board today is a 2-part motion to consider adopting changes to the comprehensive plan. This action would approve a resolution to implement the changes to the comprehensive plan, and then subsequently approve an ordinance that implements the changes to the code and the associated zoning maps. That concludes my remarks today, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Go ahead.
I don't have any questions, maybe just a comment. This has been a heck of a long, ongoing process. And you'll have to refer to our agenda setting meetings and briefings to really get the full scope of it. I'll just make that comment for the public because this is pretty brief, but a lot of work by staff.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, is there a motion?
Move to approve a resolution to amend the Thurston County Comprehensive Plan, Grand Mound Subarea Plan, Yelm Joint Plan, Lacey Joint Plan, Olympia Joint Plan, future land use maps, and urban growth area boundary for the Lacey UGA. I further move to approve an ordinance to implement the changes in the resolution by amending chapters 2015, 2021A, 2025, 2027, 2028, 2040, 2044, 2045, 2109, and 2305, adding a new chapter 2036, repealing and replacing chapter 2112, and repealing chapter 2113 of the Thurston County Code, by amending the official zoning map, Thurston County, Washington, and by amending the North County Urban Growth Area zoning map of Thurston County, Washington.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I have one point to make. I just wanted to make a couple comments regarding this because last time we talked about it, I had requested additional time to kind of understand the complexity of this plan, and I just wanted to thank my seatmates and the CPED staff for so graciously supporting me through that additional 2-week period where I was able to learn more about this. And really briefly, just to touch on the concerns I had last time regarding the Lacey Joint Plan, I actually was able to meet with Mayor Ryder over these last couple of weeks, and we had a discussion about this. And where I do acknowledge the concerns that the Planning Commission and other community members have had regarding this low-density consolidation piece, I am optimistic about future collaborative efforts with the City of Lacey and strengthened interjurisdictional relationships that we can build as a result of passing this plan. I also plan to kind of canvass some of the low-density consolidation areas in Lacey to talk with residents and see how this zoning impacts them in their day-to-day life. So I just wanted to reaffirm my commitment to addressing this with the community and getting their feedback, as well as thanking my seatmates and the CPED staff for all of the diligent work that's gone into this plan.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Just to say, building on that, and Commissioner Edwards made the point, this is one of those items where it's really a catalog of a whole bunch of individual decisions. I opposed a couple of decisions made in Grand Mound, but it's really all of us support, or at least the 3 commissioners that worked on it, support the vast majority of the information in here, and it was worked through the democratic process, and I think it's a good comprehensive set of changes to our comprehensive plan. So as a package, I'm supportive.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll echo Commissioner Mentzer's. I got outvoted as well, and I think you had a good streak, Commissioner Edwards. But it's a respect of the democratic process. But I really want to give a special shout out to Leah, Maya, Andrew Bond, Andrew Tefobis, Amelia, and Ashley as well for all of your fantastic work throughout this year to get these items to the finish line right now. And as well as the Planning Commission, but you really pushed these items through to get to this point. And so I believe you all really deserve special acknowledgement for that because, you put these matters in front of us. You gave us the information that we needed to get to this point. So huge props to all the work that you've done this year. And I think this is just seeing this huge list and this huge motion is just a reflection of that. So thank you. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Klaus?
Aye.
Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay. Moving on to item 6C is another big item, and it's the adoption of the Shoreline Master Program Update and Development Code Docket number A-6.
Good afternoon, Chair Mejia and Commissioners. I'm Andrew Tefobis, Senior Planner with Community Planning and the project lead for the Shoreline Master Program, or the SMP. This is item A6 on the board's 2022-2023 Development Code docket. I'm here today to request the board to consider a motion to approve the county's SMP update and authorize the Community Planning and Economic Development Department to submit the update to the Washington Department of Ecology for review. The county has been working on an update to its SMP for several years. This code amendment includes comprehensive and periodic updates required by state law. The county is proposing the updates under the authority provided by RCW 9058-020 and as part of the periodic review process under RCW 9058-080 subsection 4. The SMP regulates development and redevelopment along shoreline areas of Thurston County. Shoreline areas subject to the SMP generally include Puget Sound, lakes and reservoirs 20 acres or larger, streams with a flow of more than 20 acres per cubic second, and lands within 200 feet of these water bodies, which are known as shorelands, as well as wetlands and floodways associated with shoreline areas. The county's current SMP was adopted in 1990, and since that time, much has changed in the way of state requirements. The proposed updates to the SMP will bring the most current, best available information and balance growth and development, consistent with protections that prioritize healthy and safe shorelines for people, wildlife, and fish. The SMP is designed to achieve no net loss of ecological function over its implementation, which is a requirement of the Shoreline Management Act's implementing guidelines. The SMP update also incorporates 3 broad policies of the Shoreline Management Act enumerated in RCW 9058-020. 1, to protect the environmental resources of state shorelines. 2, to promote public access and enjoyment opportunities. And 3, to give priority to uses that require a shoreline location. Upon final approval, the proposed code amendment will be a repeal and replacement of the existing SMP, and it includes incorporation of updates to state law, proposed changes to shoreline jurisdiction maps, shoreline environment designations, and development standards. It includes additional flexibility for modifying existing development in shoreline jurisdiction and uses that may be allowed in shoreline buffers, and it increases clarity and streamlining of the permitting process. As required by the Shoreline Management Act, the Thurston County SMP update will also include critical areas within shoreline jurisdiction, and the SMP will include the buffers necessary to protect those critical areas as well. Communication with the public about this update was early and ongoing. Early work was guided by a scientific and technical advisory group, which held several meetings to review and advise on foundational documents of the SMP update. Staff obtained public input early in draft development via open houses and through the Planning Commission's review process and public hearing. Additional public feedback was received and incorporated during the board's review and public hearing. Project information has been available on the SMP website, and staff have been available to answer questions and attend stakeholder meetings at the public's request throughout the process. The Planning Commission's review of the SMP update began in 2017. The Planning Commission held 81 work sessions between 2017 and 2022. An in-person open house was held in 2018, and a virtual open house was launched ahead of the Planning Commission's public hearing, which occurred in October of 2021. That public hearing was noticed in the Olympian, advertised via web mails to the county, the department's web subscriber list, and posted on the county's website and social media accounts. A postcard was also mailed to all shoreline property owners to advertise the publishing of the virtual open house and make them aware of the hearing. The Planning Commission issued its recommendation to the board in August of 2022, and the board held at least 10 work sessions on the SMP update since that time. The board held a public hearing on May 16th, 2023, which also was noticed in the Olympian and advertised via the methods that I just described for the Planning Commission. After that public hearing, the board held multiple work sessions to consider the public comment received. The board directed staff to make changes to the document during those work sessions, and those changes are reflected in the version of the document that's before you today. Most recently, the board met yesterday and directed staff on some minor changes to better characterize the county's intent to establish an Aquatic Resources Committee, to conduct research and advise on SMP implementation, and to correct descriptions on how future SMP updates will be handled. Those changes have been made in the document in section 19-500-105. A State Environmental Policy Act mitigated determination of non-significance was issued on May 12th. The county also issued a 60-day notice of the intent to adopt to the Department of Commerce. Once the board adopts the SMP update, it will be submitted to the Department of Ecology for review. Ecology will solicit public comments and may hold a public hearing on the SMP update. Ecology will notify interested parties of public comment opportunities, which includes individuals who have made comments throughout the process. Anyone who would like to ensure they are included on this list can reach out to me, and I'd be happy to confirm that for them. At the conclusion of Ecology's public review process, Ecology will review feedback with the county and discuss potential changes that may be needed to the documents. Ultimately, Ecology will issue a conditional approval to the Board of County Commissioners, which will include a list of required and recommended changes. The board will then work with staff to incorporate any necessary edits and then consider the final adoption of the SMP via ordinance. It will then be sent back to Ecology for final approval, where it would take effect upon that approval. Thank you. That includes my remarks on this process, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions? Do you have one?
Well, I don't know if again, I don't think I have any questions, but staff put a lot of time in on this. And I would like to point out, because there were some smarties up here said I did pretty good last time around, but I didn't do very good on this one. So I just thought I'd point that out, that you don't always win in the democratic process. Thank you, ma'am, for tolerating me.
Questions?
Maybe a question for Andy. So Monday morning, you indicated that there might be, based on those last few changes, that I might need to make some amendment to the language of the motion, but have you seen this proposed motion, and does it capture what I need to?
It does. We were able to update the documents and replace them. I just didn't want to promise that during that briefing without checking procedurally if we were okay to do that. So the director had suggested that we change that motion potentially, but we were able to find a path forward without doing that. That's actually more efficient.
Okay, that's all I wanted to make sure. Then I will move.
There's a question?
Sorry, I figured I would make my comments now instead of after the vote is called. I just wanted to say again, thank you to everyone for all your hard work on this plan. I know I'm coming in at the tail end of this. I think actually the very first time I ever met with Commissioner Mejia, I asked if this would be done before the new commissioners were sworn in, so I feel lucky that I get to be a part of this. I think the plan has a lot of good information in it. Again, there are some small areas where I think that we could be doing better for environmental protections, but we can't get started on any of that important work until this is passed. So because of the resounding amounts of information that are really, really positive and will allow us to get the ball rolling with making sure that we're complying with the environmental protections that we should be, I'm just really excited to be a part of passing this plan. So thanks for all your hard work.
I'm not seeing any more hands. I'm ready for a motion.
Move to approve a resolution authorizing the Community Planning and Economic Development Director to submit the updated Shoreline Master Program and related materials as presented to the Department of Ecology for review and approval, fulfilling requirements to implement comprehensive and periodic updates to state law as required by RCW 90-58020 and RCW 90-58080-4.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Klaus?
Aye.
Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, moving on with District Court, item 7A, District Court Substance Monitoring Program Contract Renewal. And we have Frankie Peters, a Court Executive Officer, here to present this matter.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Good afternoon. Frankie Peters, Court Executive Officer, Thurston County District Court. In 2021, the Board of County Commissioners approved District Court's request to implement substance monitoring programs supporting the need to reduce appearances at the courthouse, decrease jail populations, and provide a resource that increases compliance with court-ordered conditions for those justice involved that have an inability to pay. This is done through the funding of urinalysis testing and blood alcohol monitoring device installation and reporting. Following the competitive bidding process in 2022, District Court had contracted with Friendship Diversion for these services. Friendship Diversion has remained a great responsive partner in supporting this program and all those served. In 2023, the board approved District Court's request to amend the contract with Friendship Diversion to include services for our mental health and Veterans Court. Mental Health and Veterans Court has funding allocated to support substance monitoring through the Criminal Justice Treatment Account and Treatment Sales Tax. The amended contract included the addition of $75,000 from these funding sources. And by amending the contract with Friendship Diversion to include services provided to Mental Health and Veterans Court, we've had an opportunity for a proactive approach to creating efficiencies within our current system. Since June of last year, when the program started, we've served 352 people using the SCRAM system, which is the transdermal blood alcohol monitoring device, as well as 127 people served through the urinalysis testing. I do want to share my appreciation for Thurston County Corrections and getting me these next data sets that are ones that we've been talking about for some time since we've started this program. For the Thurston County Correction Facility, historically, typically, the district court matters are about 12 to 13% of the jail population. Looking at 2022, prior to the implementation of our substance monitoring program, those averages were consistent at 12.7% of the jail population. Now, following the implementation of the substance monitoring program, so June 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022, that jail population decreased from 12.7% to 10.9%. Looking at numbers more recently into 2023, for January to June, that jail population further reduced from 10.9% down to 7.6%. Of those cases that are monitored, about 85% are in a pretrial status, while 15% of those being monitored are in a post-disposition or probationary status. And the last data set that I'll leave everybody with is one that's most interesting to me. So with all services provided, there's been a total of 40,194 days of monitoring that has been done by Friendship Diversion through this program. And when we look at the daily compliance rate, the successful compliance rate of this program, it's at a 98.9%. So unfortunately, due to our current systems, there's not a way prior to this implementation of this program to look back at past stats. But based off the information that we have and this 98.9% daily compliance rate, there's a noticeable increase in compliance since we've started this program, and it's something that we're really proud of. Through this year's biennium budget process, the board has approved $500,000 in ARPA funding to continue the support of the substance monitoring program through 2024. Maintenance level funding of mental health and veterans court substance monitoring has also been approved by the board, addressing the contracted service in the amount of $75,000. District Court is requesting the board approve and authorize the court executive officer of District Court to execute a one-year contract extension with Friendship Diversion in the amount of $575,000 for the 2024 year. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take those.
Thank you. Any questions?
What was the number of, you gave the number of days or hours or something of total monitoring? Can you repeat that?
That's total, yes, total days of monitoring is 40,194. So that's each person that is on the SCRAM monitoring system and the number of days that they're on.
And if we say that the cost of having someone in jail is, what is that, Commissioner Edwards, $160 or something?
$100 dollars a day.
So that's $6,471,000 to have kept those folks incarcerated, and we spent about $500,000 or something like that. Or, I don't know what period of time. Maybe we spent $1 million over the two. What's the period of time that 40,000 days came from?
That's since June of 2022, so about a year and a half. And it's a very interesting number. It's something that we want to continue to look at. We've had discussions before that, I mean, it's not a one-to-one, but based off jail population, we can tell that there's a noticeable correlation between these. So yes, it's an absolutely great data point to be looking at as we continue to look at the success of this program provided for the county and the service for the community.
Not all these individuals would have been jailed.
Well, let me clarify, because
Okay.
I have asked the district court in the past, the intent of this program is that folks aren't going to be thrown onto a monitor that wouldn't have had to have a monitor otherwise, just because there's funding for it. And after that was, we clarified that at the beginning, and then a year into the program, we talked to Judge Buckley and Frankie about, anecdotal, but is it your sense that this is being used, the dollars for this program is being used for somebody that would have had a jail condition otherwise? And their sense was that yes, that there wasn't an expansion of the use of the program because of its availability. It was targeted toward people that would have been on a condition they wouldn't be released without this monitoring or some sort of other monetary. So, I mean, it's very anecdotal, but
Yeah, but like the conditions that Friendship Diversions is able to supervise are much different than the conditions that, say, a probation officer would be able to supervise, right? Because the Friendship, they have no authority to arrest, they have no authority to enter a home and like I was a parole officer and I had authority to go in and hold offenders accountable under the conditions that they were released. With Friendship Diversion, it's nothing like that.
That is correct. Friendship Diversion does not provide that aspect. What Friendship does is they provide the devices. They do the reporting back to either pretrial services, if it's in a pretrial state, or to the court for those probationary cases. So at that point, we will take action if there is any non-compliance, but generally everything else is done through Friendship Diversion as far as setting up the device, monitoring device, and they will end up notifying us if there is a non-compliance. But as provided with that 98.9%, there's actually been a very, very high rate of compliance. It's something that I've even talked with Friendship Diversion about because it's a high rate that they've seen as well. And I think it's due in large part because we are providing the support to each person that's coming in.
these are folks who the judge would be sitting there saying, I would release this person if they were on this substance use monitor, even if it's the lower level of friendship, like you're saying. But I can't if they're not. And they didn't have the money for it, so they're not. So they sit in jail. And now the judge can go ahead and make that release with that monitoring. It's paid for by this program at a tune of, I don't remember, how much have we expended on this? Do you guys remember?
This last year, we were at approximately 590,000. I'm sorry, for the year and a half.
So, and I mean, yeah, is it a complete dollar for dollar 6.4 million savings? Probably not, but I mean, I've been very pointed every time we've evaluated this program. Like, I didn't want to see the judge just adding ankle bracelets to people they wouldn't have otherwise, because it's there. I wanted to make sure that this is somebody that the judge would feel like, I couldn't release this person without this condition. You know, that there wasn't an expansion of ordering it. You know, and the judges have assured me each time I've asked that they don't feel that that's happened. So therefore, it is, I would argue, under if the judges are correct, it would be a savings of, you know, not all of that, but maybe 80% of it or something, which is an incredible, you know, incredible cost benefit for us.
As long as the increased accountability isn't because of increased compliance, isn't because of less accountability.
Correct. Yeah, and I appreciate Commissioner Mentzer's point too, and I've been looking at those numbers as well, as far as how many people were assigned to substance monitoring prior to the implementation of this program, and those numbers have remained consistent. There has been no increase in the number that's been applied, so it still is in those same situations. It's not, as you provided what we've discussed in the past, that by having this program, we're going to be setting up more people on substance monitoring. Those numbers have remained consistent pre-implementation and post-implementation. And I think a really good example of the successes that can be seen through this program were on day one, or actually the day before day one. The intent was to start the program on June 1st. We had an individual before the court that had an inability to pay for their substance monitoring. There before Judge Buckley. And due to their inability to pay, we're in for a violation, and consideration of that person being remanded to custody was being discussed. Judge Buckley reached out to me since we have the contracts ready to go, all policies and procedures in place. We actually started the program a day early, and we got those services provided to that person. They're successful through the length of their probationary period and complied, case closed without further issues. So it was a really great anecdote, and for that to be applied on day one was really beneficial, and we've seen that happen throughout.
Commissioner Edwards, you had a question, sir?
You know, I didn't have a question as much as I was going to follow up on Commissioner Mentzer's comments, because a lot of lives were made better in the end through this type of an expenditure versus millions of dollars of incarceration. And but Frankie pretty much covered it, so I don't need to opine on it.
Thank you. Okay, is there a motion for this?
I move to approve and authorize the Court Executive Officer of District Court to execute the professional services contract extension with Friendship Diversion Services for the substance monitoring program in the amount of $575,000 and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Klaus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you, Frankie.
Thank you, commissioners. Have a great afternoon.
Okay, we'll try to cover as many items as we can, and then we will be pausing to start our public hearings at 3:30, so we'll pick up with emergency services. Item 8A, medic unit procurement, and we have Ben Miller-Todd, Emergency Services Director.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Ben Miller-Todd, Emergency Services Director. Thurston County Medic 1 is requesting authorization to cooperatively procure 3 new paramedic units for deployment in Thurston County in 2025 through the HGAC contract number AM 1023. Due to extreme supply chain constraints and manufacturing delays, Medic 1 was informed by the vendor that a 24-month back order was expected for the new units. EMS Council has unanimously supported the recommended Medic 1 budget, which incorporates this procurement into the 24-25 biennial budget process. Thurston County Medic 1 appreciates your consideration of this request, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you. Questions?
How was the vote at EMS?
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Additional questions? Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to authorize the Director of Emergency Services to purchase 3 Type 1 Superliner 171 body Ford F-550s to replace Thurston County paramedic vehicles under the Houston-Galveston Area Council contract with Lifeline Emergency Vehicles, contract number 8M10-23, in the amount of $1,111,311.46, and execute any amendments not to exceed 10%.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Klaus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, moving on to item 8B, procurement of striker, gurneys, and load systems for medic units arriving in 2025. Back to you, Ben.
Thank you. Thurston County Medic 1 is requesting authorization to cooperatively procure 3 new gurney and load systems for the new medic units that will be procured in the previous motion. With that, I did just want to point out a couple items for the public. Stryker has offered a Thurston County residents a $33,000 discount beyond the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Pricing agreement for these gurneys and load systems, as well as this early procurement from 2025 ultimately does avoid between a 5 and 8% rate hike or rate increase year over year in 2024 and 2025. Aggregately, by purchasing these gurneys now, Thurston County saves approximately $50,000 from what they would have saved in 2025 for that procurement. With that, EMS Council has unanimously supported the recommended Medic 1 budget, which incorporates this procurement into the 2024-2025 biennial budget development process. With that, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Questions? Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
Move to approve the procurement of 3 Stryker gurneys and load systems for a total cost of $180,113.58 through Sourcewell contract number 041823-STY with Stryker, and authorize the Emergency Services Director to execute the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just commend the director for finding such a good deal.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Klaus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Human Resources, item 9A, resolution setting the 2024 salaries for the assessor, auditor, clerk, coroner, prosecuting attorney, sheriff, and treasurer.
I will be taking that item, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
So this item is in accordance with RCW 3617-020. which authorizes the county commissioners to set the salaries of other elected officials. That is further codified in Thurston County Code, Chapter 2.118. For the salaries for the assessor, the auditor, the clerk, the coroner, the sheriff, and the treasurer, staff are recommending a 5.8% increase in their salaries compared to 2023. And for the prosecuting attorney, half of the prosecutor's salary is set by the state of Washington, and staff proposed that we match the state amount for the prosecutor. The 5.8% increase, I would just say that while that is more than county employees will receive in a COLA in 2024, in the last 16 years, elected officials have not received a salary increase in 8 of those years, with the most recent years being 2021 and 2023, when elected officials received no salary increase. The 5.8% is an effort to begin to catch their salaries up with where they are set for their employees, although there no elected official other than the prosecutor has a salary that is set higher than their deputy in their office. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And we recommend approval of this action.
Questions? Okay, is there a motion?
I move to adopt the resolution setting 2024 salaries for the assessor, auditor, clerk, coroner, prosecuting attorney, sheriff, and treasurer.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Look at you, Gary.
I'll go ahead and second the motion. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Go ahead.
I have a point to make. So during my campaign and still currently, I take a firm stance on prioritizing the needs of our working class and low-income families. This is in line with my commitment to fiscal responsibility and community-oriented governance. As we were reviewing these salary commission recommendations, I believe it's crucial to align our decisions with the needs of the community in Thurston County. Right now, we're facing exponential inflation and stagnant sales tax rates, bringing our revenues to a scary place, quite frankly, and I can't in good conscience support an increase for elected officials that surpasses the COLA that our county employees will receive. So while I respect the democratic process and the votes of my seatmates, I do take a firm stance against increasing salaries for our elected officials.
Any further discussion?
I would just point out that the process isn't entirely democratic. It's been set up to where the Salary Commission, which is a citizen group, sets commissioner salaries, and then that puts us in, and then makes recommendations, and that puts us in a situation where we brought all of the electeds down to what the recommendation was for the commissioners, but we would not be able to stop those increases, and we would have a situation where we would get a pay increase that we could not affect, and then other elected officials wouldn't. So I'm very uncomfortable with that. I think the board's committed to looking yet again, and it's happened a couple times during my tenure on the board, where we've sat down and gone through different models of these types of decisions. Different counties do it different ways. There's counties that are moving toward our way, and there's counties that are moving away from our way. And I heard about a couple of new models that I had never heard of before. So I think we're gonna have that conversation early in 2024. What I've learned is that every single way we think of has pitfall. Like, there's no perfect solution. Every way has a way that throws something out of whack. So that's why we've just kind of stuck with what we've had for a while, because at least it puts it in, really onto the purview of our citizen commission. And we don't even select those people for that commission. They're hand-drawn by except for a couple of specific, I'm looking at the county manager. There's a couple we have to pick because they fall in a certain bucket, but most of them are just drawn at lot by the auditor. So it should be a true representation of community, thought about this very sensitive topic.
Yeah, I'll echo what Commissioner Menser said. I did not feel comfortable with our salary increase to be moving forward and then sustain everyone else's increase. And so, that's why I, went forward with the motion that was set forth of having everyone at the same percentage rate. So, any further discussion on this item?
No, I hear what the county manager is saying, and that there is something wonky in the way the pay structure of elected officials here is in Thurston County. I know we have a budget crisis, and, we need to be mindful of that, and there's lots of things that are wonky, and this is one of them. And for the subordinates of the elected officials to be making more than, the department heads that they are, that makes no sense. These jobs have recruitment needs, just like any other job. These jobs have to stay competitive. Even though they are elected officials, they've got to be competitive to people that make higher wages than this, and they've got to be attractive for people that make lower wages than this. So it's a hard thing to figure out, but I don't think we're doing it right. But right now we have something that's before us that there's a way to move forward that makes kind of the most sense, but doesn't fix it. And I'm in favor of the motion as it stands.
Okay, if there's no further, go ahead.
Well, I guess I might as well fill the void here. I want to remain consistent because every time I get a chance to go in front of the salary commission, my feeling has always been, and I've held elected office since 1986, that I knew what the salary was when I signed up to run for office. And I felt that no incumbent should get a raise during the incumbency. But those adjustments should be made at the next elective cycle. I haven't won that argument yet, but I want to stay consistent. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Okay, I'll call for the vote.
And that is the way it works without a salary commission. If there's a salary commission, it doesn't work that way. If there's not a salary commission.
I have called for.
Sorry.
Yeah, I have called for the vote, so, go ahead, Jane.
Commissioner Klaus? Nay. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Nay.
Commissioner Menser? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, it is 3:32, so we'll go ahead and pause this. I was just trying to move it forward.
Oh, yeah.
Public hearing.
I was trying to sneak one. I was trying to sneak one in.
Are you going straight?
Yeah. So, okay. We're gonna go ahead and move into our first public hearing. This is a public hearing for updates to chapter 2.02 of the Thurston County Code. It is 3:33 p.m. The purpose of this public hearing is to accept and consider public comment on the proposed ordinance rescinding ordinance 16179 and amending chapter 2.02 of the Thurston County Code relating to regular and special meetings of the Board of County Commissioners. This is a hybrid public hearing. Those wishing to testify have joined in person by Zoom, emailed in comment, or mailed in comment. If you wish to testify, please visit the Thurston County homepage online and select announcements of public hearings on the left-hand side. The information to join this public hearing remotely has been posted there. If you do not wish to testify but would like to listen and follow along, please watch the live stream through the Thurston County YouTube channel to help us manage attendance. Robin Campbell, interim county manager, will provide information on this topic. Assuming those on Zoom wish to testify, we will read your name out loud. You will have 4 minutes to testify. Time may not be given to another person. When you're called on, please state your name and address for the record. The public hearing is now open. So Robin will now present background information of the proposed resolution, written comments submitted, and any additional information requested by the board. Go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thurston County Code, Chapter 2.02 governs county meetings, specifically those meetings of the Board of the County Commissioners. In 2023, during the legislative session, state law was changed regarding public meetings. RCW 3632-080 requires that the board hold regular meetings in the county seat. But sub 3 authorizes the board to hold quarterly meetings outside the county seat. This is a flexibility that was not available to the board prior to the changes in state law. And so we are recommending that the ordinance be amended to align with state law and provide the board the flexibility to hold quarterly meetings, should you choose to do so, outside of the county seat within the communities that you serve. There are other items in this update that are mainly just administrative cleanup items, but the main change in the code is to provide flexibility to the board for these alternative location meetings. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions?
Is there a limit to how many can be held outside the county seat per year?
One per quarter.
Can't do them all in
is the
Tenino.
limit.
Noted.
Yeah.
Any additional questions? Okay, we'll go ahead and move into public testimony. And for this item, I do not have anyone on my sign-up sheet. Is there anyone who would like to provide public testimony? And on Zoom, I'm just seeing Keely and Auditor Hall. Okay, so moving forward to discussion. Any discussion commissioners need to have at this time?
I think this is great.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Claus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. And interim county manager, can you tell us the next steps for this?
The next steps for this is we would just add the code to, or the amendments to the county code, and then we can have a discussion with the board in January on if you'd like to schedule these meetings in other areas of the county.
Do you need a motion from the board today?
We need to
Is this the
approve
public hearing and then we
ordinance.
adopt the ordinance?
Have you closed
We
the,
can.
you've closed the public hearing?
Yes.
So you have an option to move, I'm sorry, you have an option to move to approve the change to the county code.
Thank you. There was no recommended action, so I just wanted to make,
There is on the agenda, but not on the public.
not on the
hearing.
public
So
hearing.
sorry.
I'm ready to make that motion, Madam Chair, if you're ready for it.
Go ahead.
I move to approve ordinance rescinding ordinance 16179 and amending chapter 202 Thurston County Code relating to regular and special meetings of the Board of County Commissioners.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
How many times do you have to read the ordinance to adopt it? Does it take 2 readings, 1 reading?
No, you can take action right now and you're done.
And then there's not a second reading and
Nope.
adoption? Okay.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Claus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, the ordinance amending chapter 2.02 of Thurston County Code has been adopted. So with that, we will move on. That will conclude the first public hearing. We will move on to our second public hearing.
The second public hearing is a public hearing to receive testimony regarding proposed 2024 election precinct maintenance plan. The purpose of this public hearing is to accept and consider public testimony on the proposed 2024 election precinct maintenance plan in accordance with RCW 29A.16.040. Precinct boundaries may be altered at any time as long as sufficient time exists prior to a given election and that no precinct exists 1,500 active registered voters. The city of Yelm had multiplied annexations. So if you wish to testify, please make sure you signed in on the table outside this room. Currently, I have one person who's here as an observer, but we'll see if they wish to testify. You will have 4 minutes to testify. We will call your name out loud for oral testimony. When you hear your name, please come forward and provide your address. Time may not be given to another person. We're going to go ahead and this public hearing is now open. Auditor Hall will provide background information on the proposed amendment, written comments submitted for the public hearing, and any additional information requested by the board. Auditor Hall, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you.
Great, thank you very much. Every 10 years, we draw new precincts for the decennial census, but in between those 10 years, we have to adjust precincts for a couple of reasons. And really, it's to comply with state law. So we modify precincts for city annexations, which is the case here. And also precincts have a 1,500 person limit. So quite often we split them just because they're getting too large. In this case, it's strictly due to annexations, and I will turn it over to staff who will walk through all of the precinct adjustments that we're going to request to be made today.
Thank you, Auditor Hall. Is this better?
Yes.
My name is Lynn Watanabe. I'm the lead election technician. So with that, this is a 2024 precinct maintenance plan. I have gone over it a couple times with the current sitting 3 commissioners. So if I go too fast for the new 2, please let me know. All right, so for an overview, there are no changes to the 5 county commissioner district boundaries that were approved in 2022. Thurston County currently has 286 voting precincts. In accordance with RCW 29A.16.040, no changes may be made during the period starting 7 days prior to the first day for candidates to file for the primary election. This changed from 14 days during the 2023 legislative session. Also, no precinct may exceed 1,500 active registered voters. In accordance with RCW 29A.16.050, every voting precinct must be wholly within a single congressional district, a single legislative district, a single district of a county legislative authority, and, if applicable, a single city. Every voting precinct must be composed as nearly as practicable of contiguous and compact areas. So the overview, there's 5 City of Yelm annexations: Railway Road, Vansel Morris Road, Grove Road, which has 2 areas, and State Route 507 Southeast annexations. And we also have 1 City of Yelm boundary correction. So the first area is the City of Yelm Railway Road annexation. It affects Longmire, which is precinct 126, and has approximately 634 voters. The second precinct is Yelm number 3, which is precinct 703, has approximately 1,274 voters. The approximate voters in a new precinct is 0. So the proposal is to add the annexed parcel to Yelm 3, precinct 703, and again, the approximate voters affected is 0. So the new voter total for Longmire, precinct 126, is 634, and the new voter total for Yelm number 3, precinct 703, is 1,274. The second area is the Vansel Morris Road annexation. It affects Longmire, Precinct 126, approximately 634 voters, and Yelm number 3, Precinct 703, which has approximately 1,274 voters. This is affects approximately 2 voters. So we're proposing to add the annexed area to Yelm number 3, Precinct 703, and again, it affects about 2 voters. So the new voter total for Longmire, Precinct 126, is 632, and the new voter total for Yelm number 3, Precinct 703, is 1,276. Any questions on those two? So the next area is a Grove Road annexations. It affects Longmire, Precinct 126. Again, approximate voter total is 632. Yelm number 3, Precinct 703, approximately 1,276 voters. Approximate voters in the new precinct is 14. So the first area for this Grove Road annexation is to move the parcel into Yelm number 3, Precinct 703, which has approximately 5 voters. So the new voter total for Longmire, Precinct 126, would be 627, and the new voter total for Yelm number 3, Precinct 703, is 1,281. The second area, again adding the annexed area to Yelm number 3, Precinct 703, and there's approximately 9 voters in that area. The new voter total for Longmire, Precinct 126, will be 618, and the new voter total for Yelm number 3, Precinct 703, 1,290. Next is State Route 507 Southeast Annexation. This affects Deschutes, Precinct 125. It has approximately 1,271 voters, and it affects about 0 voters. So this annexation does cross a congressional district boundary. So the proposal is to create a new precinct in Yelm, Precinct 706, with approximately 0 voters, because a precinct cannot cross a congressional district boundary. So the new voter total for Deschutes, Precinct 125, is 1,271. And the new voter total for new Yelm number 6, Precinct 706, is 0. Any questions on those?
Is it just between 2 boundaries? It can't be absorbed either way?
No. The city limits, if you could go back a slide.
It's sandwiched in between 2 boundaries that don't.
So the congressional district boundary currently follows the current city limits. And so the annexed area is just on the other side of that congressional district boundary, and there's no city of Yelm precincts on the other side. So this would be the only city of Yelm precinct in congressional district 3. Everything else is in congressional district 10.
Gotcha.
3, oh yeah, 3 is the. Okay.
3 is the south.
Right, down in Vancouver.
Stay out of my precinct.
No.
You in 3? That's right.
Okay, so the last area is a boundary correction. It affects Fristo, which is Precinct 124, has approximately 633 voters, and Yelm number 1, Precinct 701, which has approximately 1,078 voters. This affects approximately 0 voters. And then this is just that the city of Yelm boundary should follow the creek lines and not parcel lines. Again, it affects 0 voters. So the new voter total for Fristo, which is Precinct 124, is 633, and the new voter total for Yelm number 1, Precinct 701, is 1,078. So the proposed results, again, no changes to commissioner district boundaries and no voter total change for commissioner districts. Proposed 2024 precinct count is 287. Approximate voters affected is 16, which is 0.008%. Voting precincts added, 1, which is Yelm number 6. Legal descriptions added, 1, Yelm number 6. Precinct boundary adjustments due to City of Yelm annexations and precinct boundary adjustments is 5. Precinct legal descriptions amended due to City of Yelm annexations and precinct boundary adjustments is 5. And the Commissioner District legal descriptions amended. Only internal precinct boundary changes, only internal precinct changes, no external boundary changes, and no total voter changes is 1. and that's Commissioner District 2 to reflect the one added precinct. Any questions?
No questions, thank you. Okay. So sharing the screen.
Yeah, I know we're coming earlier to you than normal, but that's because we have 5 elections next year. So this is really the only time we have.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Edwards.
I guess I just want to point out that there's a lot of work that goes into this to follow the rules. And sometimes I think the public has a hard time of making sense of them, but they are the rules and we got to follow them, and that's the way it is. So good job. Thank you.
Yeah, staff does an amazing job.
So with that, we will move on to public comment. They marked no, but I will ask Mitch Larson. Okay. So, and I'm not seeing anyone via Zoom. Is there anyone who would like to provide public testimony on this? Okay. So we will move into discussion. Is there any discussion on this item?
My only question is, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but there's a proposed actions on the agenda, one of which adopts boundary changes and one talks about Commissioner District 2 legal description. Are those both things that need to be done today?
Yes, please. So there are 2 different ordinances. One is to update county code for the precinct legal descriptions. The other one is to update the county code for the commissioner district legal description.
Because they have to match.
So the precinct boundary legal descriptions is updating because we're moving the boundaries around. And then the commissioner district legal is because the commissioner district legal descriptions is a list of precincts. And so for commissioner district 2, we have to add precinct 706.
All the changes that we just went through are all under District 2. So it's just a corresponding
Yes.
cleanup.
Yes, and it's because we added a new precinct. So anytime we add or remove a precinct from one of the commissioner districts, we have to update
Okay,
the legal.
got it. Thank you.
You're wondering if I'm going to get redistricted out or be perpetually there, huh? No, thank you, Lynn. That was very good.
Okay. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move to close public hearing.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Claus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier? Aye. Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Next, we have 2 motions in front of us. Is the board ready to move forward?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a motion?
Okay, first I will move to adopt the ordinance for proposed legal description and precinct boundary changes, updating 5 precincts with boundary line adjustments and creating 1 new precinct.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Claus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, is there a second motion?
Yes. I move to adopt the ordinance for amending Commissioner District 2, Commissioner District number 2 legal description.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Claus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay. Thank you, Auditor Hall, and thank you, Annette.
Thank you very much.
So that will conclude our 2 public hearings. We will move back to our regular set agenda. We left off with Public Health and Social Services, item 10A. And this is the interlocal agreement with the City of Olympia of Quinn Street Village operations. And we have Keely Marino here to present this item. Go ahead, Keely.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Keely Marino with Public Health and Social Services. I'm here today to ask for your approval of an interlocal agreement between the City of Olympia and Thurston County in order to provide $600,000 of county ARPA funds or American Rescue Plan Act funds to support operations of Quinn Street Village. In 2022, the City of Olympia created Quinn Street Village. It's a 100-unit tiny home village, and it was created in order to replace and relocate the residents of the original mitigation site located in downtown Olympia that was created in 2018. In addition to relocating those residents from the mitigation site to Quinn Street Village, individuals that have been living in recreational vehicles along Ensign Road were offered the opportunity to move into Quinn Street Village as that site was cleared. Right now, currently, Quinn Street Village serves as a regional resource and accepts referrals through coordinated entry system, which prioritizes individuals experiencing homelessness from throughout Thurston County regionally. And in March of 2022, Thurston County and City of Olympia also entered into another separate interlocal agreement to share the costs of purchasing, planning, the development and operations of a property located at Franz Anderson Road. And the intent was to, at that time, to address the vehicle camping along Ensign Road. However, that was addressed by Quinn Street Village. And so now Franz Anderson is being used as a tiny home village under the right-of-way initiative. So housing individuals that have been relocated from those camps along I-5 on the Department of Transportation right-of-ways into tiny homes. The individuals that will be served by this interlocal agreement are those who were moved to Quinn Street Village. And moving forward, there hopefully will be a relationship between Department of Commerce that more right-of-way individuals from around the county will be moved into Quinn Street Village. In December 19th, 2022, Thurston County and City of Olympia entered into an interlocal agreement to combine sales tax revenue, commonly referred to as the Local Home Fund, to support affordable housing and also homeless services. Combining these funds means that City of Olympia has fewer resources to support the programs they've been supporting in the past, including the operations for Quinn Street Village, which runs at approximately $1.5 million in operational costs annually. So the City of Olympia is seeking some funds to help support these operations of Quinn Street Village for 2 to 3 more years before that property is turned into permanent housing, which has always been the plan. City of Olympia has requested that Thurston County contribute a portion of our American Rescue Plan Act funds that were previously intended to support Franz Anderson to support Quinn Street Village operations during 2024. The City of Olympia has also presented its request to the Regional Housing Council, and the county and the Regional Housing Council requested that Olympia develop a sustainable funding approach for Quinn Street Village for the next few years if ARPA funds are awarded. So Olympia has developed the following strategy for funding Quinn Street Village operations. In 2024, roughly $600,000 of county ARPA funds, along with $500,000 in state right-of-way funding and $400,000 of City of Olympia funds will go to operate Quinn Street Village. Moving forward, 2025, $500,000 of operations will come from state right-of-way funding, $500,000 from the Regional Housing Council or will be brought to the Regional Housing Council for approval, and $500,000 from the City of Olympia. The proposed interlocal agreement would have Thurston County reimburse the City of Olympia for up to $600,000 of costs to operate Quinn Street Village between January 1, 2024 and December 31st, 2024. And that is, I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Keely. Questions? Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
I'm sorry, can I ask a question?
Go
You're going kind of fast, Keely, there. For 2025 operational budget, 500,000 through the RHC, 500,000 from the city, and what was the third source that you listed?
The right-of-way funds from the Department of Commerce.
Well, that's expected in 2025 as well.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I move to approve the interlocal agreement between City of Olympia and Thurston County to provide $600,000 of County American Rescue Plan Act funds to support the operations of the Quinn Street Village Tiny Home Shelter and authorize the interim county manager to sign the agreement.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I would just point out, Commissioner Edwards often makes the point that sometimes we're tearing through a lot of items, and it's because we've had a lot of previous debate and discussion. This item definitely falls into that category where we had a lot of debate about how we were going to do this when the request came in. So if it seems kind of easy now, it wasn't easy to get here, but we're here.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Claus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you. Okay, moving to Public Works, item 11A, interagency services agreement with Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife for stormwater utility improvements. We have Tim Wilson, Water Resources Manager. Gonna sing, Tim?
Who's having an issue here? That work?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon, Commissioners. Tim Wilson, Water Resources Manager with Public Works. Public Works is requesting the Board of County Commissioners enter into an interagency services agreement with the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife regarding stormwater facility improvements near 73rd Avenue Northeast in Boston Harbor. WDFW is in active construction of a Boston Harbor access redevelopment project, which includes boat ramp and access area improvements. While the project is in construction, there is an opportunity to replace aging county-owned and maintained stormwater infrastructure. Public Works has developed an interagency services agreement in cooperation with WDFW, which includes reimbursement for the cost of infrastructure replacement. Reimbursement costs for the infrastructure replacement total $74,465.48 and will come from the storm and surface water utility rates. Funding for this project is included in the 2024 budget. This agreement would be considered a win-win opportunity for both the county stormwater utility and for the Boston Harbor residents, taking advantage of the open construction project managed by WDFW while the area is disturbed to replace stormwater infrastructure that was approaching the end of its useful life. The action is in alignment with the county's Strategic Plan Initiative 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community. And with that, I would answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you. Questions? Okay, no questions. Is there a motion?
I move to execute the interagency services agreement with Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife in the amount of $74,465.48 for construction of stormwater facility improvements as part of a Boston Harbor access redevelopment project.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Claus? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you. Item 11B is the interlocal agreements with the cities of Aberdeen, Chehalis, and Olympia, Grace Harbor County, Intercity Transit, and the Olympia School District for the sale of anti-icing materials for road operations. We have Mike Oman, Road Operations Manager, here to present this item. Go ahead, Mike.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thurston County Public Works Road Operations Division produces anti-icing materials for use in winter road operations, providing for public safety and welfare. These anti-icing materials are utilized by Thurston County and, as quantities allow, available for purchase by neighboring jurisdictions and agencies. The cities of Aberdeen, Chehalis, and Olympia, Grace Harbor County, Intercity Transit, and the Olympia School District have a need for anti-icing materials in support of their winter operations, but do not have the ability to produce the materials. Interlocal agreements provide a mechanism for these agencies to purchase anti-icing materials from Thurston County for their road operations. The unit price charged to the agency for anti-icing materials will fluctuate and is based on the cost for supplies, equipment, and labor to produce the specific material. There is no minimum order amount. An agreement to sell anti-icing material is at the discretion of Public Works. The ILAs will be for a term of 5 years. Public Works is requesting the Board of County Commissioners approve the ILAs between Thurston County and the cities of Aberdeen, Chehalis, and Olympia, Grace Harbor County, Intercity Transit, and the Olympia School District. This action is in alignment with the County Strategic Plan Initiative 14 to strengthen sound financial management practices. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mike?
I might just point out, I believe I heard this morning that you also have other agreements with other jurisdictions to help them out, like Rainier and Bucota.
Correct.
Tenino, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no more questions, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve the interlocal agreements between Thurston County and the cities of Aberdeen, Chehalis, Olympia, Grays Harbor County, Intercity Transit, and the Olympia School District for the sale of anti-icing materials for road operations.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Faust? Aye. Commissioner Fournier?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you, Mike. Okay, and then our last department item, item 11C, interlocal agreement and quitclaim deed with the Confederated Tribes of the Chehalis Reservation regarding the transfer of portions of county roads. We have Matt Unselman, county engineer, here to present this item.
And thank you. Thank you for saving the best for last. I am your last staff item of 2023. For your consideration is an interlocal agreement with the Chehalis tribe to transfer all or portion of 5 county roads to the Confederated Tribes of the Chehalis Reservation. These roads include Anderson Road, south of US 12, 195th Avenue, east of Anderson Road, 188th between Anderson Road and Moon Road, south of US 12, and 183rd Avenue, west of Moon Road. A public hearing was held on November 28th and is available for review on the Thurston County YouTube site if you would like to receive any more information. I'd like to follow up on what Commissioner Menzer said a couple items ago. While this is a quick presentation, this item has had substantial conversation. I didn't go back and count all of the agenda settings where we provided updates to the commissioners, but I can promise you it takes 2 hands to count.
Thank you. Any questions for Matt?
I might have a question and a comment if I could make that. I guess I have the benefit of being the oldest guy in the room, I think, looking around here. And I go all the way back to 86 when we were working on this. And I want to say there were 15 and maybe 20 county commissioners that have now worked on this particular issue over the last 20-some years. And it's progressed along the way, sometimes farther than other times. But there's always been just too many questions to get it over the threshold, if you will. And unfortunately, it seems like there are still quite a few questions that have been raised by citizens that are directly connected with this project. So although I feel I'm not an attorney, not giving legal advice, but I've had these discussions with 4 or 5 county engineers, road engineers, folks. That's what you're doing now, isn't it, Matt?
That's me.
And I want to thank you for all your hard work because I know you've really put a lot into this. But the reality is there's still all of these questions that really have not been cleared up 100%. And I just can't see myself supporting something where there's doubt about how it may affect some of our citizens. So those 15 or 20 commissioners that have held this position over those last 20 years or so were never quite satisfied. And that's kind of where I am at this point. So we'll see where the democratic process goes. But I really think that a properly drafted MOU would probably solve this problem. And I'm afraid if this goes through, the county could, and I emphasize could, be incurring some legal problems. So that's kind of where I'm at on this particular topic, and I commend all the folks that have worked on it, but I think there are solutions, they're just not here yet. So, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Any further, any questions or any comments?
There was comments made regarding due process and lack of due process and a seeming, I don't know, maybe a misunderstanding, but, you know, the road is subject to the authority of the county now. If it's transferred, it would be subject to the federal government. And there is due process within the federal government system, we all know. It's just, it would be subject to a different political organization, the county to the feds. The tribal property is federal property in a federal trust. And if you are now represented by county commissioners for that property, you would then be represented by senators, congresspeople, presidents, BIA.
Exactly, and along those lines, I thought you summed it up perfectly this morning. It's no different than an annexation, right? In that there'll be a new authority in place to make sure that the road is continued to be maintained as it properly should be.
It seems like there's a lot of fear.
But it's different than an annexation because explicitly in the agreement, if it's not maintained, we have a right to pull it right back.
It can be quick
which is
claimed
not
back
how
to
an
us.
annexation works at all.
So there's an agreement that exists that says these roads are subject to the same standards as the county in the same condition, no worse than it is now. And if those standards aren't followed, there's still accountability within the county system.
Yep, they will get quick claim back to the county. It would have to go to court if it wasn't agreed upon, but ultimately it would come back to Thurston County, yes.
There was also a comment made, am I done? There was also a comment made that was likening this to transferring property to Russia and a hostile nation, which I find a little offensive and absolutely, well, yeah, not at all the truth. So this is not transferring to a hostile nation or transferring to Russia. This is a subordinate political jurisdiction of the U.S. government. It's federal property. Am I understanding that correctly?
You're saying that correctly.
Okay, thank you.
I would just say that to Commissioner Edwards' point, the reason that this hasn't gone forward in the past is because the legal review of the county, which has been extensive, put protections in the agreement that the Chehalis tribe was not comfortable with. And I was brought into this because I was a commissioner up until a couple weeks ago. I was commissioner representing that area of the county. And so I was brought in to kind of go through the major provisions of where the kind of stalemate happened and see where there was still lingering disagreement. And what basically happened was the tribe, the current leadership of the tribe, for the most part, agreed to the protections that some years ago they weren't willing to agree to. We didn't really change our position all that much. I mean, we went as far as our lawyers told us we could go, and then we were kind of stuck there. But now the tribe has been willing to, they see, I mean, for whatever reason, I don't want to speculate about why they've taken the position they've taken, but we were able to get through all of those stumbling blocks that our legal counsel was telling us were extremely important for us to retain. So from my perspective, it's been reviewed by legal multiple times over. We have the protections in there that our lawyers have told us need to be in there. We don't have to guess at what this looks like because Grays Harbor has done, in my estimate, in my understanding, almost the exact same thing and are about to add additional roads to that because it's working well for them. So we don't have to kind of guess about how this might work. So I think that a lot of what Commissioner Edwards is talking about has been addressed from my perspective.
Questions?
I just have a couple comments. I wanted to echo what Commissioner Fournier said about the comparison to Russia or a hostile nation. I think that this really is addressing the practical need for maintenance of these roads while also addressing historical imbalances and honoring tribal sovereignty. So I firmly stand with the decision to move for the motion on the table today to go ahead and approve this.
Matt, my question is in regards, we're not the first ones to do something like this.
No.
Grays Harbor has had,
I think they said they've had it in place for 10 years and there's 6 miles of road that the tribe is currently maintaining.
So I know when we restarted these conversations again, that was one of the things we looked into seeing what Grace Harbor had in comparison to kind of, as Commissioner Menser said, that language that we had that had been done for years and years, and how close are we to kind of what they have in comparison to what we have?
I can't tell you, like, they're obviously not the exact same agreements. It's
course,
not
yeah.
like we took Grace Harbor's, because there's so much that's specific
Mhm.
to the concerns that the county had. So why I can say the overall approach is the same, the agreements are different agreements.
You mentioned in a meeting earlier that they waived their sovereign rights with regards to the road in this agreement.
Yep.
And is that essentially meaning that they're still, that allows for that accountability? If they aren't maintaining the road properly, they can't say, hey, we're a sovereign nation.
Yep.
And we don't care what you say.
And that was the biggest thing, one of the biggest items that the county pushed back. And that's one of the bigger changes that's occurred more recently.
I think that's a big piece.
It's a huge piece.
Okay, so we have a motion in front of us. If there's no more questions, our commissioner is ready to proceed with this item today.
I'll move to execute the interlocal agreement and the quitclaim deed with the Confederated Tribes of the Chehalis Reservation for the transfer of portions of Thurston County roads to the Confederated Tribes of the Chehalis Reservation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Claus.
Aye.
Commissioner Fournier.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Nay.
Commissioner Menzer.
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia.
Aye. Okay. We've reached the end of our agenda. We'll go and review our standing items. Items 12A is the commissioners will report on board work sessions and assigned committee meetings, providing updates on actions taken as well as upcoming issues. Commissioner Klaus, we'll start with you.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Commissioner Fournier,
Not at this point.
Commissioner Edwards.
I think I'm going to skip a lengthy report. We've all put in a lot of extra time on budget
And right here, though.
and many items that the democratic process has worked its way through. So I think I'll just let it go at that.
Thank you. Commissioner Menzer.
I'll go ahead because I have a lot of things I'd like to just throw out there. It's 2 weeks worth, and I usually just tick through things I did that weren't just Board of County Commissioner or my normal committee assignments. I was able to attend at Tumwater the goodbye for the Charlie Schneider, who is not going to be on council anymore, decided not to run for re-election, and we had a nice ceremony for him over at Tumwater City Council. Had a chance to support the chamber on 2 ribbon cuttings, one at the multi-care facility and one over at Tech Equipment over at Hawks Prairie area. Gave a presentation with Commissioner Klaus was present and actually invited me, I believe, to the Community Partnerships for Transition Solutions community group about reentry programs that the county has. We had law and justice and BHO meetings, sea level rise. I serve on an ex officio capacity for the county. We had a meeting. Sentencing Guideline Commission had a special meeting of the State Building Code Council this morning where we went ahead and readopted, in a sense, the commercial code that's supposed to hopefully go into effect in March 15th to capture the votes of some folks that were absent because there was a 2/3 threshold that needed to be met that no one was quite aware of. Otherwise, the legislature has to approve everything before it goes into effect. So we were able to get a 2/3 vote this morning on that. Attended with most of my seatmates the Economic Development Council Expo, the legislative breakfast on behalf of our board, and that was successful. And yeah, that's about it. Working through county manager stuff.
Okay, I will give an update. Me and Commissioner Fournier met with staff from Congresswoman Glusa-Camps-Perez team, gave her an update on items that we were working on that could be of interest to them. I held my last town hall yesterday, and me and Commissioner Klaus did a tour of
tour of the courtroom of the future at Superior Court. Glad to announce that it's done and it seems to be working well. There are still some hiccups that they're trying to work through, but if Commissioner Edwards and Commissioner Menzer remember, this was available because of a grant that AOC gave out, and so I guess the big thing is I attended the Interbranch Advisory Committee meeting, and we discussed a letter that was sent out by the Office of Public Defense, and what direction the Supreme Court was going to take in terms of caseload caps for public defense. And what Justice Gonzalez reported is that they are currently looking at their authority of placing a moratorium based that there is no emergency ordinance out right now. And so they were kind of looking at kind of what their authority was to do something like that. They said they would be discussing this at their next retreat, but there was a lot of conversations that needed to happen. And of course, he said he couldn't go much more into detail just because of the pending lawsuit that is currently in place. But that was one of the big topics of conversation at the Interbranch Advisory Committee meeting. And of course, they relayed what their legislative agenda is. Let's see, next item is I attended the Regional Housing Council Exec Team meeting, EDC, Regional Economic Forecast and Innovation Expo, and Intercity Transit. We adopted the budget as well as we settled on the union negotiations. So that was approved by the board. So that is all I have to report on my meetings. Next, the county manager will review the Board of County Commissioners schedule for the week of December 12th, 2023.
Thank you, Commissioner. Shortly following this meeting at 4:30, you will convene with your fellow Board of Health members for a meeting of the Board of Health. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock, you have a work session on the Heritage Grant Program Awards. And at 1 o'clock tomorrow, a work session on the Growth Management Act Housing Allocation briefing. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, you have a work session on the EDC Target Zone Grant Tour. It's not a work session, it's a tour. And I'm not sure which commissioners plan to participate in the tour. On Thursday, December 14th, many of you will be participating in the Leadership Thurston County Government Day. That is at Olympia City Hall. Your commissioner's check-in is canceled for Thursday. From 11 to 1 o'clock on Thursday, you have an open house at the Chehalis Tribes Home and Healing Clinic. Again, not sure which of you will actually be attending that, but it is on the master calendar, and that is at 9474 Lathrop Industrial Drive in Tumwater. On Friday, at 8 a.m. is the STEADY meeting, and STEADY is South Thurston Economic Development Initiative. That is available to you virtually and in person, and I do not have the location
Rochester
for
Sweet Hall, I
that,
believe.
but it sounds like it's at Sweet Hall in Rochester. Thank you, Commissioner. At 10 a.m. you will convene a business meeting to adopt the budget and take up other business, including the appointment of new members to the Board of Health. And from noon to 5 on Friday afternoon is the Board of County Commissioners staff retreat. And then you will be in recess from December 16th to January 1st. I would note that this is the last board meeting, the last official board business meeting, other than the budget adoption, of 2023. And the county has done some really amazing things in 2023, including a few of the items that you passed this afternoon. So I would like to thank county commissioners for all the hard work that you've done in 2023. Again, welcome to our 2 new county commissioners. Just in the short weeks that you've been here, you've put in a lot of hard work. Thank you to both of you. I've been very glad to have our second assistant county manager here to help carry the load. And just a huge thank you to county staff, because the services that the county provides to the citizens could not be done without all of the work that our staff have done. And again, we've done some pretty amazing things in 2023, and I am looking forward to all of the great things that we'll be doing together in 2024. So happy holidays to all of us.
Thank you. Okay, we will be picking up with our Board of Health meeting starting at 4:30. And it is 4:25. I'll give commissioners a 5-minute break.
You're so generous.
We're adjourned.